Yes, sir.
John Walk, Dan Morgan, he's behind the controls here, Lone Star Christian Sports Network, and we're joined by head football coach of Texas Wesleyan University and former Fort Worth Nolan head football coach, Joe Prud'homme. Joe, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's a pleasure.
It's been, once again, you're doing the color commentary on TAPS TV,
Yes,
and you seem to have fun doing that.
Oh, I do. I enjoy it a lot. I mean, to me, this is like an anniversary every year, to come back and see all the energy and the teams and the league, and it's just a great event.
Man, we've seen some really good football the last 2 days, and so let's start unpacking that, and then we will end up talking about how things went for the Rams this year.
Yes, sir.
So we got kicked off yesterday. Parish Episcopal picking up 40-29 win over Houston St. Thomas. Man, just a lot of good. We've seen a lot of good athletes in the last 2 days.
Oh yeah, no question about it. I memean, a lot of Division I kids, but a lot of guys that can go play somewhere, and really impressive the level of play, the technique. It's just very well coached football, and just they execute at a high level.
What about the young man? I mean, obviously I think everybody knew about, even if you half followed, everybody heard quarterback Sawyer Anderson with Parish Episcopal, but the running back Maddox Reed just had really an incredible ball game that we really thought was the key for the Panthers to win that contest.
Oh yeah, I thought so too. St. Thomas did a great job of taking away the pass. They really did. They forced him to run, and Maddox Reed, I thought, answered the bell. His vision, his power, his speed, it played perfectly in concert with Sawyer. Sawyer was enough of a threat to loosen the box a little bit, and man, he took advantage of it. I'm with you. I thought he was the key to that game.
On the other side was really just we get around to doing so much, and so we're not focused on we're focused on trying to spread the wealth as far as who we see and who we cover and things like that. So I really hadn't had a chance to see the Dante Lewis for St. Thomas play before. But, man, I've not seen anybody quite like him to put the zip on the ball that he did. That was incredible. I mean, you're coaching now at the collegiate level. I mean, is that top level? I mean,
I'd say it's a good D2 level. I mean, just because of his arm motion, the way he throws.
Okay.
He has a real baseball type of release. He's a baseball player first, and he's great at it.
Right.
So, but he has good zip. The arm angles he has are pretty impressive. But, Sawyer's the one that has the arm angles. Now, we didn't get to see much of it yesterday, but I've seen some of that Mahomes-type activity out of him on film, his highlight tape, where he's running one way, looks back, and then slings it at a different way.
Well, he had one down here right about the 5-yard line where he was rolling out over here to the right, and he threaded it right in there. And it's just really an incredible pass. So, you're right. You can see Anderson's talent level is just the ball game that Reed had. It seemed like his legs are real strong.
Yeah.
I mean, to do what he did, you have to imagine his core is just, off the charts to be able to.
He's sturdy. He's sturdy built. I mean, he's got a really strong core, and his center of gravity is good. His balance is really good. There's several times he was hit, lost his balance a little bit, and the old stumble drill kept on rolling. I was impressed with that, and I don't remember him getting taken down by a single tackler yesterday. I think it was always 2 guys, 3 guys after contact. I really would have liked to have seen Lewis run more yesterday because that 4.4 speed, they were spread out, and there was times he was waiting and really wanted to be patient. I would have liked to have seen him take the ball down and just take off and see what happened because they were in man coverage a lot. So their backs were to him, but he's talented. I mean, some of those RPOs he was threading were really pretty.
But just, it wasn't until really, we saw St. Thomas have 2 drives with penalties and then a turnover that really kind of changed the complexion. St. Thomas still had a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Midway, even early in that fourth quarter. But once you had those 2 drives with penalties on the end and then the turnover, it kind of handed it right there to the Panthers. Yeah,
I would say McGuire had it pegged really well. Both of them had it pegged really well. They said if we get 4 to 6 stops, this was Coach McGuire, if we get 4 to 6 stops, we're going to be in the game. We got a good shot to win it. Coach Novikov, whoever gets the most stops is going to win the game. And that's what it boiled down to. The actual turnovers, the penalties in the red zone hurt them a little bit, but the back-to-back turnovers that was the death knell. And Coach McGuire said we have to be clean. We can't have any turnovers. And when that happened, I said, man, this is going to be a tall order because Parrish has been in those tight games.
Sure.
They've been playing the best in Texas.
That's right.
So they're used to being in those tight ball games. So it played into their favor. Not that St. Thomas hasn't, but they've been in a lot of really wild games too. But that you just can't survive turnovers in state title games.
So let's pivot to that Division II game, Argyle Liberty and Regent School of Austin. And we didn't find out until kind of right before the ball game that the really good quarterback for Regents wasn't going to be able to go to last night.
Right.
And that really, and the young man, the freshman, in the face of everything, did a really good job of trying to keep things moving down the field. But just Argyle Liberty, just wow. I mean, just
yeah. I mean, no question about it. They overwhelmed them. I knew a couple days ago that Devine would probably have to play. I knew that Murphy had sustained an injury. Coach Phillips had told me that, and I just held it under my hat until the game started, and then I saw Devine out there, and I saw him this summer at a camp. We went ahead and offered him because we think he's going to be awesome down the road. First offer I've ever made for a kid that age ever.
Wow.
Because he came into a tough situation. That was a very fast, athletic Liberty team, and they bring the pressure. So I thought his opening drive was outstanding, and I was like, they might have a little something here. But I don't think they could get to enough reads, could get deep enough into the playbook to really offset what they were facing. And, of course, Liberty's got such a great offense. But their defense is the key. That speed on defense, that physicality, that coming and getting you quick. They force quick decisions, and to run a freshman out there on that stage, that's a tough order. Yeah. But I thought Jack handled it really well.
No, we were certainly impressed with him and the job that he did offensively. Obviously, well averted Janusek, and then Chase Garnett had a big game. So you had two games in a row. You had the number 5, Reed and Garnett, just explosive ball games that really helped their teams to win.
What I thought was interesting between the two backs, they were very similar in the physicality and the strength. And they were always falling forward. You never saw them get knocked back. I thought Garnett was a little faster, but I thought Reed was his cuts and his vision were just excellent. But they're both, they're really well built for those offenses. And you can see a lot of stuff tailored for them. Receivers out of the backfield, too, when they were going empty. That was pretty impressive for those guys to get out there and make some catches. And Janusak's different. He's a really good ball player.
What do you think? Obviously, again, you've been around this game for a long time. The impact of Coach Witten being there at Liberty now.
Well, he's got a great group to work with. I think that he's flipped the program over, which he's done a great job with. I think he brings a lot of good assistant coaches with him. I think there's a lot of detail work in there that a lot of schools may not have the resources to put in place. Just the special teams, some of the little nuances, some of the finer details were covered, and that's really tough for anybody to deal with. And I think they did a great job.
Yeah, I think he's the 5th former NFL player to win a top state championship. So you had Barber, Fawcett, Dan. Who else? We had Avion Kaysen at Cedar Hill Trinity, and I'm forgetting the last one.
Deion Sanders.
Well, Deion was never the.
He wasn't the head coach though, was he?
Andre Hart was one
That's
year.
Right.
And then,
That's right.
Yeah, the 3 that they won in a row, they actually had Troy Williams
Mike
as
Barber,
a coach.
Grace Prep.
No, I had Barber. We had Barber, Fawcett. We forgot Avion Kaysen when we posted. There was somebody else, but and obviously, it's good for Taps.
Sure.
You're getting. Although I saw one commenter go, private school football in Texas is garbage. I'm going like, nah.
Well,
I wasn't going to jump into that comment.
Well, just ask South Oak Cliff. Right. Ask Alito.
Yeah.
Ask China Spring.
Oh, no, I know.
Ask a lot of them. It's funny because I know almost all those coaches, and I've talked to them, and they're like, hey, they'll play us.
Right.
Other teams won't play us, and so hey, we want to play, and they're a good football team and helps get us ready. So
sure. And then we had a good ball game today. We're kind of wondering, again, you always worry about schedule. And there were games that Mike's team played in the regular season that they had an easy time with, and and Holy Cross in the latter part of the year had an easy time with. So you kind of wondered, Dallas Christian's just the job that Mike and the athletes that he has. So you kind of wondered if Holy Cross was going to be able to come and stand in, and they did. This was really fun to watch. That they had the opportunity to still be in it late in the game. They kept Dallas Christian off of the field, especially that long 16-play drive in the first half. It was really a different, unique game that didn't know that I would have thought it would have gone that way.
Yeah, it surprised me too. In talking to Mike Harrison and to Coach Wheeler as well, I had a really good idea what both were trying to do. And it's funny because typically Dallas Christian's a punter, right? This game they had to be a counter puncher because all the different things that Harrison's group brought. I mean, all the different looks, he said, Joe, it's going to be, we just have to get lined up. But they're going to give us so many looks. He goes, and they've got such a deep playbook. They can catch us in some bad spots with our defense. And, of course, Harrison's doing that to slow them down a little bit, make them think to where they have to get lined up. As they're lining up, then he can get something going. They can't just pin their ears back and come like they like to do. But I thought, and then Harrison's, his keys were keep the ball. First half, 41 plays to 14. That's pretty impressive.
Right.
He said, but we have to convert. So he was a prophet because he did not get the conversion when he needed it down here, didn't get a field goal or a touchdown. The couple of penalties in the red zone really hurt them. Kicking game hurt them a little bit. But then, Mike said, we got to score, and whenever we get a shot, he goes, we're going to try to do a house call. And they did. I mean, they're a big play offense. I was impressed with the game. I thought the imagination of Holy Cross's offensive staff and even defensive staff, all the different looks they were giving. And then you had the classic, we're really good at this and we're going to stay with it. We're going to give you a few wrinkles, but we're going to make it work because it's worked all year. And Mike was concerned about two things. He was concerned a lot of my guys hadn't played a full game lately.
Yeah.
Number two, we're playing at noon. We're not used to playing at noon. We thought we were going to have a 7 o'clock ball game, so we've been trying to play at 7. And there's something to that. You really try to get your clock set. When I was at Nolan, we would always look when the playoffs would start.
Sure.
What time is the state game, just so that we could kind of get used to playing at that time. Is it a noon game? Well, we try to play everything at noon. Is it a 3 o'clock play at 3? Whatever it was.
Right.
And Mike's very big on that too. Your circadian clock is it's a pretty big deal.
That's why I kind of found it a little bit interesting, even with, we saw, Six-Man was kind of forced into it because they played that game on Thursday, so that week before, to make the 5-day rule, they had to play on Friday. But we saw most of the 11-man games in the entire league, even though you had 2 and 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. It's like the majority of the games one week were all on Friday, which kind of surprised me to your point about, trying to maintain that week-to-week rhythm on that you're going to get to this ball game, Division 3-4 on Saturday, and why do you don't start setting that up as you go along week by week? But
I guess it's philosophy. I don't know. That's just how we always did it, and it worked really well for us. I mean, we got into that rhythm, and it just by the third week of the playoffs, fourth, whatever it was, it was like you'd done all year. It felt that way anyway. But I was that last game was fun. I mean, let's face it. I don't even know what they call the play where they all stand there. Stall or wait or whatever. And then the fake punt was pretty good. The one that didn't go with the one before, and then the motion in the guy on the goal line and then putting under center and going. I hadn't seen that before. Maybe you've seen that before. I haven't, and I was like,
yeah, you've seen a lot more football.
I watch as much as I can, and I was pretty impressed with a lot of their creativity, their imagination. It gave them a chance. What hurt them were the red zone penalties. That was really what got them, was those few of those, and then just the big plays. But let's face it, Nettle's good.
Yeah.
He can go.
Yeah, I mean, and I thought they did such a good job on. I mean, they kept Holy Cross just kept pounding it up the middle, and DC had 2 or 3 big guys up there, and they still really effective job blocking on the line and getting yardage up the middle without having they really didn't have a huge big play threat. Did Holy Cross?
No.
So he just kept hammering it out, and kept them having a shot to still possibly win.
Yeah, and what I thought was interesting was how many backs they rotated. It was like a back would go, because I guess they play defense as well. A back would go, he'd go get 4, 5, 6, 7 yards, out, next back, then the next back, and then the next back. And Alvarado was impressive to me. I thought he had a really good game. I liked the way he handled the offense. I liked his command of it. You could see all of them looking at him like he's the guy. And when you have that, you got a chance. And then when he came back after the injury, or that whatever happened, I think it was his ankle, it looked like. I was pretty impressive to come back because he didn't look to miss a beat.
Well, we don't want to give anything away. We've got Lubbock Christian and First Baptist coming up. We talked to Coach Washington at Brazos Christian, who's played Lubbock the last 2 years. And, obviously we know the First Baptist has defeated Lubbock in district play, but what Coach Washington kind of shared is that Lubbock's kind of got their quarterback situation in play, and that he thought that it might be, wasn't on video, but he told us he thought it might be a lot closer ball game than what a lot of people might think.
I think it's going to be a shootout. And I think it's going to be a very close game. Had a good long conversation with Coach Lavorne. He's got a lot of dudes. He feels really good about them. He says they're very disciplined and focused more than they have been. He feels good about that. But let's face it, Softly's group is really good too, and they understand this game. They've been here, done it. I think it's going to be a really interesting ball game. Good game.
Yeah, no, I think I totally agree with you. This was one that, again, you have such pedigree with Parrish, and you have pedigree with Dallas Christian. So you kind of come into a situation like this, and you've seen the job that Coach Witten has done at Liberty. So you came in with that kind of mindset into that. But this one, this could be really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we've covered what's going on here. So let's talk about Texas Wesleyan football a little bit.
Okay.
It was an interesting and different year for you in that you had to win that big ball game against Ottawa early on. Because that was a team that knocked you out of the playoffs possibility last year. Big win there at Crowley. Really high. You guys continue to play well, and then the heartbreak defeat at Louisiana Christian. So.
Right.
Share with us how it was for you.
Great season.
I'm sorry.
No. You set the stage pretty well. No, Ottawa. We had to beat Ottawa to start the season. They were ranked, I believe, 14 at the time in the nation. We were like 23 or something. We had to beat them to get in the driver's seat. And there was the one team in conference we had not beaten, so we had to win that one. And Nesbitt's a great coach. So let's face it, he's got the Texas back, pedigree, and to West Texas A&M, et cetera. So we played a really good game against them. We really did. We probably should have scored a couple more. That would have helped us. But then we got on a roll, did pretty well through that time, played a really good St. Thomas team out of Miami, and just didn't play very well. I mean, we made probably 7 or 8 mistakes that we just don't make. Then we get going again, and we're starting to roll again, doing pretty well. Ended up averaging, I think, 43 points a game, gave up 17 a game. So we're nationally number 6, I think. Scoring, and then our defense was like number 8. So we go into the Louisiana Christian game. We had a 9-point margin because Ottawa had beaten Louisiana Christian. And I had helped author a rule that for the new tiebreaker was the 3 teams involved, you do point differential. Whereas before it was banked on, rated on your national rankings, things of that nature, which I thought is too subjective.
Right.
Let's get some more objective type of measures and standards to break that tie.
Bringing in a high school tiebreaker.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But we voted on it. It passed. It actually went to the national level, and as far as the playoffs and going to 20 teams instead of just 16.
Okay.
So that was all really, really good. We go into the game, and we're playing pretty good. We're playing solid. We get to the fourth quarter. We knew we could lose by 9 or less. At least I didn't tell the players that.
Sure,
they kind of had an idea, but I didn't. That wasn't our focus.
You're all academic kids figured that out.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I think everybody in the locker room did. I think the custodians were also letting them know. But it was, then we get to the fourth quarter, and we've been great in the fourth quarter all year. I mean, we were 86-20 margin. We close out. Fourth quarter, we're really good to just finish it off. Didn't do it. We get in there, block punt, touchdown. Oh, no. Blown coverage, 14 points. Then they had a drive. And then we just could not get a first down. Our best receiver was out. Our top running back blew ACL the week before. The second best receiver broke his collarbone the week before. So we were kind of out of weapons a little bit of that we'd been using. It just got harder to get those first downs.
Right.
And when that momentum shifted, I've never had it shift on me in my career like that, but it did. So then it gets down. I'm letting the clock run. Everybody's wondering, what if I lost my mind? We're down by 7, right?
Right.
And they're getting down to a field goal. It's a 36-yarder, I think. And their kicker's not great. He's okay. My kicker's outstanding. Oh, and we also missed a field goal. We missed a 47-yarder. We'd already hit a 51-yarder earlier. He'd hit a 57-yarder earlier in the year. He's good. So I'm like, we've made those mistakes. And that was in the fourth quarter also, the missed field goal, which would have put us up 17.
Okay.
So we're down 7. They get it. They run the clock down. 3 seconds. They call their timeout. I wait right before he snaps it. Timeout. Try to freeze him. He gets in and he kicks a line drive, and it's one of those line drives where all the hands are like that, and it goes through hands.
Oh, man.
Hands are over it, and it just found that little hole, and it cleared the crossbar by that much. Wow. Rams season over.
Oh my.
We still have a share of the title.
Right.
We're still conference champs. We just missed the tiebreaker for the playoffs by 1 point.
Man.
Out of the whole season. So that part was tough. Now we graduate 4 offensive linemen, so that's hard. And just 1 or 2 defensive guys, and that's it. And then everybody else is back.
Okay.
So.
And, of course, one of those offensive linemen is the Swoboda kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a private school
Yes, sir.
kid.
Yep. He's Brook Hill. And
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah,
I knew he was a private school kid because I made first team all conference.
All conference, and he's a scholar athlete every year.
That's
every
great.
year. And he's up for the Dave Remington Small College Award at this point.
Nice.
So we got him for that yesterday, as a matter of fact. We had to get our nominations in. And then Carson Rogers at St. Pius is our quarterback.
He was a third team.
Mm-hmm. He was 13, but he could have been second. He had an injury. He played with a separated shoulder for, I guess, about the last 3 games.
Okay.
So we got some really strong taps kids up the middle. But Swoboda, I'm hoping will stay. He's got another year of eligibility. He may get pick up a second major, or he might just go into grad school.
Okay.
But he wants to build prosthetics.
Nice.
And he did a whole internship this summer.
Nice.
They loved him.
So, Coach, you guys had 8 first-team All-Sooner Athletic Conference players this year, and a number of second-team and honorable mentions.
Yes, sir.
So you're saying a lot of those kids are coming back, so things are looking pretty bright for you guys.
I would say
next
so.
year.
Yes, sir. I mean, we got a lot of experience coming back. Every year we've gotten a little better. We've improved in areas. The block punt killed us. We normally don't have that happen, but it did. But yeah, things are looking really good for next year. We got our practice field built, which will be our game field. We got on it, I think, in October. So that was nice that we were on campus to practice. They're building a field house right now, so then the stadium will come after. So things are looking good, where we are. We got a lot of great players back, got a lot of experience. We redshirted some really good guys as well. They'll come in and they'll have a chance to compete as well. So if a good recruiting class, and then we're going to be on our way.
So, Coach, when you're watching these games here, I know you think back to the Nolan days. We had some knockdown dragouts between Pius and you guys. We were just talking about. I was talking about with Mike this morning the game we played at. What was it? You guys ran a kickoff back on us at the end of the game.
Not Buffalo, wasn't it? Buffalo?
It was.
Yeah, we broadcast the game in Buffalo.
Oh,
you reminded me that
when
I saw you the very first
it was
Texas Wesleyan game at Barrington, and I'm going like, I forgot all that.
Oh, yeah.
that place. It was. Anyway,
Was it a semifinal?
It was
game?
a semifinal game.
Yeah.
Semifinal game. You guys just had great teams all through that, and to see you have this success at the next level, it's great for us to see, and
appreciate that.
And we're so happy for you, and we're just happy we get to visit with you here.
Yeah.
At least once a year. So
well, I appreciate
so
that.
Always good to get a chance to visit with you.
Well, we had some knockdown dragouts. Those are some good. And the thing about it is the Holy Cross team reminded me a little bit of our teams of the past, where we would beat teams with several D1s and we didn't have one, but our kids just kind of found a way. And the keep away that they were doing today, we had to do that to win the games we did.
Yeah, I think we had 2 pretty tough years there where we met in the semifinals.
It was 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was
Crazy
fun,
years.
but there was a lot of intensity in those games.
It sure was.
It was great. It was great.
We talked last year. We were just getting into, the NIL stuff was coming about. And I think when I was at the Ottawa game, or maybe talking with Steve in between, he made the comment that maybe you're starting to see with the way things are with the transfer portal is that it gives you the ability at NAIA to see some kids because the high school kids aren't getting, because they're recruiting kids out of the portal at the upper levels. That you're getting to see some better kids than you saw in your first days coaching at Texas Wesleyan.
There's no question about it. The last 2 years alone, we have picked up, I think 2 years ago, by our standards and our measurements, we got like 11 FCS quality type kids.
Wow.
They were just left out. Then this past class, we got like another 12 to 13. You start stacking those classes up, and I'm talking long guys that can run, that are very, talented and high academics, because those are the things we go for. But I'll go to high schools, and our staff will go to high schools and say, well, how many guys you seen today? How many colleges come through? Oh, a lot, Coach. Oh, how many? Well, I saw one yesterday and before, and I'm like, that was usually a 7 to 8 visit day every time. But the portal, we focus on the high schools. I mean, if we get a portal kid, it'll be rare. It'd be a need deal, or it's somebody we recruited before who went somewhere, is unhappy, and is coming back home. That's happened a couple of times, but you won't see many of them.
Is that happening? I'm sorry, Dan.
No, that's what I was going to bring up. I actually asked a question about are some of these high school kids are getting left behind because you can pick a kid that's already got some experience at the college level, and pick them up. So a lot of these bigger schools are just going to recruit the portal. They're not going to recruit a high school kid unless he's, unbelievable out of high school. So it gives an opportunity to the other levels or whatever to bring those high school kids in and get them into the game.
There's no question about it, but you got to think about everything that goes on in a college coach's head. At a lot of those levels, there's so much pressure to win, and they have to do it now. So they have to get ready-made kids to make it happen if they're in a rebuilding project or if they're in a slump area. So I understand why some do what they do. But for us, we're in a good spot because we can go after high school kids because we're now developed a big enough and good enough core as they're coming up. We're able to just keep adding them. And it's better for us because now they know our systems, they know our expectations, they understand the culture. If you bring in multiple transfers, now are you going to have a culture issue? Are you going to have a problem with they didn't get what they wanted the last place? Is that why they're coming to me now? And that's not always the case. Some of those guys, it's just they're looking for a better situation, and I understand that. But from the college coach's point of view, their investment's less, too, in a transfer portal kid because now they don't have to carry him for 4 years. He's already developed. I may just have him for 2 years, so I'm only going to have to invest for 2 years. I don't like that model because it leads to a perception, or even in my mind, a transactional process. This now becomes all transaction. These kids are all just currency, and I've got to figure out how I'm going to use this one or that, and I don't like that. I would much have a transformational, approach to where when they come to me, I'm building them to when they're done, they're great young men. And if you have that approach, you're always going to be more successful, I think, because the more you focus on them as people, the more they're going to respond and buy in, and you have a great culture. If they are just a football player to you, that's just too shallow for me.
You said it perfectly to me. The culture aspect of it is, and it started in basketball with the one and done kids that come in and go 1 year. Where is that kid 10 years from now? I mean, here's a perfect example, and I'm not picking on him for any one reason, but Dion, so look, I'm not a Florida State guy. I went to, HBCU, that's where I graduated from. I didn't graduate from that school, but they'll bring these guys in and they do 1 year, and, you lose that alumni aspect of your athletics when those kids are just moving from school to school, kind of a mercenary type.
Very transient, very mercenary-like. Could not agree with you more on that. It's just everybody has to make decisions how they want to run their program. Some of that is so business-oriented. That's fine, but I mean, it is a business. Let's not get right. College football is a business, even at our level. We have to generate income, and we do. We do a great job of it. But I don't want to do it at the expense of the kids. If I can give them a great experience, or if I get them in school, even if they don't stick with football, but if they go to school and they get their degree, I can feel good about that because then I know I've helped them.
Are you seeing the same effect that you've just discussed for Texas Wesleyan with all of the other NAIA football programs?
As far as them going after the high school players as much?
Yeah, I mean, just having the opportunity because those kids are available to take advantage of and raise the level of the game within NAIA.
I would say the NAIA level of talent's raised, no question. Everybody has a different way of doing it. Ottawa does a lot of transfers. Louisiana Christian's more homegrown. They had a lot of seniors this year, but it's a better opportunity for us. But you still have to have something to sell those kids or something to provide for those kids. for us, it's a mentor program that we get them. They come in, we're able to hook them up with a lot of different businessmen or attorneys or whatever they want to meet to really go for their careers. So when I recruit them, I tell them it's not about what you look like in 2 years, 3 years. I already know what you look like.
Right.
What do you look like 10, 15, 20? That's what's more important to me. And if I can give you the tools, then I can feel good about it. If it's just a football transaction, I don't feel good about it because I don't, there's not enough brought to the table. There's not enough value for you and your family.
Yeah.
So that's the way we approach it. Now, not every NAI school is going to recruit to the level we do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got guys covering Houston this last week. We're doing the Metroplex. We comb it over really heavy. We recruit Texas real heavy. And then we do a little bit of Louisiana.
Yeah.
We don't get out of the state very much, but Louisiana's about the other place.
Yeah, I think I looked at Louisiana Christian's roster, and they're heavy with just like you said, heavy with Louisiana kids. So, well, Joe, we always appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Likewise.
And just
likewise.
it's just to be able to have this conversation with you, and that we can share with everybody. I mean, it's just what you're doing at the collegiate level. Hopefully, people see and go, hey, this was private school, carrying it to the next level, and that it shines well on everything that's being done from a private school standpoint. So thank you for what you do. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Always enjoy, again, taking time on this weekend to visit with us.
Absolutely. Likewise.